I am extra motivated to get out of bed in the morning when I know that I have my salted caramel banana baked oatmeal waiting for me. Now it may look like a fancy dessert, but it is nutrient dense and it's also naturally sweetened with applesauce, bananas, maple syrup, and honey. And there is not a gram of processed white sugar or flour in sight. And you can make it ahead of time to streamline your morning. We'll begin with a medium-sized mixing bowl, and you'll need 2 very ripe bananas, and you can either mash these on a plate with a fork, or you can put them right into your bowl like I'm going to do. And then I'm going to add my wet ingredients, which is half a cup of almond milk, or any milk of choice, half a cup of unsweetened applesauce, 1/4 cup of honey, 3 tablespoons of almond butter, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar for flavor, and a teaspoon of vanilla for flavor. And I love adding just 1/4 of a teaspoon of almond extract, just to add a little more flavor and aroma. And 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And you can use white or black. I prefer the white for the aesthetic. Now I'm going to use my immersion blender and blend this together until all of the banana chunks are smooth. Let's turn it to a low power. Here we go. All right, that looks awesome. And now we can add our dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of quick oats, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed, and then in my trio here I have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And now I'm just going to whisk these together until blended. Now we're going to add 1/2 cup of raisins, and I like to use the golden raisins because of their color, but you could of course use regular raisins. Just with my spatula, we'll just give that a quick little mix until they're well incorporated. I'm going to bake this in an 8x8 pan, and I find it works best to line it with parchment paper first. So I'm just going to take a piece of parchment paper and fold up one side so that it's square on the edges, and then place my pan on top, crease the other side, fold it down on the crease, and flip it upside down, press it down inside, crease the bottom, fold it up and over, crease the top, same for the other side, crease the bottom, and then crease the top, and then give it a quick spray with non-stick. And now we can pour our batter into our prepared pan. That smells so amazing. I can smell the cinnamon and the apple and the banana. That is going to be so delicious. Now we'll just spread this around with our spatula. Once we have that spread around, go ahead and give it a few taps just to make sure it's all evenly spread. Now this will go into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. While our bake is in the oven, we're going to go ahead and make our caramel drizzle. We're going to start with 1/4 cup of almond butter. And as our sweetener, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And for flavor, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'll just use the lid because that's roughly a teaspoon. And we want to add a pinch of salt. Now we're just going to take our fork and mix. Now for a pinky test. That is so simple but tastes so delicious. So you can see it's a great consistency if we're going to pour this over a dessert or like an ice cream, but we're going to be piping this over the top of our squares, and so we want it to be a little bit more solid. So I'm going to go ahead and just place this in the fridge while our bake is in the oven. Here's a bake that I cooked earlier, and it's been allowed to cool on the counter. And you can see just that beautiful golden color and just that soft, spongy texture. And so now we're going to take our knife and just gently run it across the 2 edges that didn't have parchment paper, just in case it was still stuck. And then we can easily just lift it out of our pan and onto our cutting board. Now you could drizzle your caramel over it before you cut it into squares, but I'm going to cut it first because I think it just looks a little more special when you drizzle each piece individually. So I'm using a serrated knife, and we'll just start right down the center. And then to help with a clean blade in between cuts, I just have a damp paper towel so I can wipe it off. And then we'll cut it in half again, wipe, and then we'll cut each of our 4 squares into 4 squares. Well, those look so good, and I am dying to try one right now, but I will be patient and wait until they have the caramel drizzle on top. But before we do the caramel, we want to prep our banana slices. So I'm going to take a banana and just slice it into some neat, thin little slices. And then now we can take our slices and just arrange them on the top of each of our squares. And we definitely eat with our eyes, and so we want to have a visual indicator that this is in fact a banana bake by having these banana slices on top. Plus they will just add a really fresh and tasty element to the bite. And to make it a little bit easier with our drizzle, I want to go ahead and separate these from each other just a little bit. To make the piped drizzle super easy, I'm just going to use a snack bag. And I'm just going to open it up and place it inside of another jar. And open that up. Now I'm taking my salted caramel drizzle that has been cooling a little bit in the fridge, and I'll just spoon that right in. Now we're going to press out the air and seal the bag. And then we'll take a pair of scissors and just snip off the little tip of the bag. Now we can go in and squeeze down to the air, and we can go in and just drizzle back and forth across our square. We're going to go over the banana and back and forth. Yum. Hashtag satisfying. It's such a simple technique, but really elevates these squares to something special. These look so delicious, and I have been so patient, so I finally get to try one. That is so yummy. That salted caramel drizzle just takes this to another level. I love the earthiness of the oats, but then I get the sweetness from the banana and just rich flavor from the honey and the applesauce, and then having just that little touch of fresh banana on top. That is amazing, and I would be happy to serve this to any guests as a fancy breakfast, or even take it as a dessert to a social gathering. And these can be stored in the fridge ahead of time to make my morning way less hectic. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. And if you'd like to see the recipe card for this video, please go to my website, which is gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone who has a thing for caramel and that you think would enjoy having a healthy, quick breakfast, please share this recipe with them. And I cannot wait to have you in my kitchen again next time.